Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. You know, sometimes after Christmas or the holidays there, it gets to be a point of what are you going to do? Well, our guest today is going to tell us about a fun activity that's some indoor opportunity that'll take us all the way through January. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsor.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597, extension 166.
Welcome back. Our guest today is a viewer favorite, Mark Ludwig from the Medina Parks District. Yep. Mark, it's so great to have you back with us.
Glad to be back.
And you have an activity to tell us about that are going to give people somewhere to go, something to do during those kind of dark early months of the new year. But it's starting right after Christmas, right?
Right after Christmas, yeah, the 27th. And it's an exhibit called Putting Through the Ages. So it's an indoor miniature golf course. There's 12 holes. It's free, which is the great thing. And we'll list the hours at the end of the interview. But it's actually started about 6 years ago. And we put so much time and energy into it that it's every third year that we have it. So,
well, I have to ask this, Mark. What in the world does putting a little miniature golf range have to do with the Park District?
Sure. It's the theory behind that is something called edutainment. So we want to educate the public, but then we also want to entertain them as well. So basically, they're coming out playing miniature golf. But they're also getting education talking about the geologic history of Ohio, so which I'm going to kind of go through today. So as they play the golf, they're going to be learning as they go, which is kind of interesting.
Well, then I'm kind of thinking that this is not your typical miniature golf. We don't have windmills and little lakes or things like that. What do we have? Well, tell us first of all, how was it put together?
Sure. We, thanks to our volunteers and staff, we put a lot of work into it. And what we'll do is we'll kind of go through several pictures that I brought today to kind of show you what it looks like. So this is kind of the top view or aerial view, I guess, of of the course. So it's quite extensive. It's pretty big. It takes us about a month to set up. And there's another shot to the next slide. So it actually, the first year we did it took us about a year, I think, to create everything and make everything. Like I said, our volunteers helped us tremendously, including, there's Claire right there, one of our other naturalists that has helped. But this is kind of inside of our barn at Wolf Creek Environmental Center, where we made most of the holes. So,
let me stop you there and ask you something. You said it was being built there at Wolf Creek, but that's not where the course is. Where is it going to be?
It's at Buffalo Creek Retreat, which is Hubbard Valley Road. It's right next to Hubbard Valley Park, so right next door to it. So we had to, essentially move everything over there. So the first year was really tough, 7 years ago. But our volunteers, like I said, George Parmalee is the one painting the dinosaur right there. So essentially what I did is I cut out a lot of the animal shapes, and he's the one that painted a lot of them. We'll also, we have another volunteer we'll show you shortly that has helped as well with the painting, and that's Kathy Kopak right there. So she helped with a lot of the three-dimensional animals and then some of the two-dimensional ones as well.
Well, from looking at that, it seems like this exhibit, the piece parts of it, are rather massive.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of them, these are a little bit smaller, but some of them you'll see in some of the next slides are a little bit bigger. So we're going to start basically with with hole one. We're going to start kind of walking through the course here. And this is a time when we had an ocean in Ohio. So Ohio was all underwater.
Well, how long ago was that?
It's the last, or roughly about 400 to 350 million years ago. So we're looking at a long time ago, and this is way before the dinosaurs were ever in Ohio, and so quite some time ago. The neat thing is you do find a lot of fossils from this ocean around Ohio, around this area. And the last slide was actually of a clam, called a clam-like animal called a brachiopod. And then the next slide is an animal called a crinoid, which kind of looked like a feather duster, is the easiest way to explain it.
Does a creature like that still exist?
They have relatives that exist today, yep. So not the exact same creature, but kind of the relatives of today that are related to these creatures from a long time ago that are now extinct. So this was a cephalopod, which almost kind of looked like a snail, but and so this is the fossil of a cephalopod, and then the last slide that you saw was we had a three-dimensional cephalopod. So they were kind of like a squid-like animal that that was in this ocean as well. The next slide is one of our bigger fish that we had in the ocean. And this was a Dunkelosteus, they call it, or armored fish is an easier way to remember, and these can get really big. They actually preyed upon shark, so that's why we have a shark right next to it.
Now let me ask you something here. That shark, is that, are these exhibits life-size?
They sort of are. We scaled them down a little bit. I mean, these fish could get a little bit bigger than the model that we made of this one that you see, but it is quite big. What's kind of neat about this particular hole is actually you put the ball into the shark's mouth up on top, and we have a little tube that wraps around this plant, and then it actually goes inside of the armored fish, the Dunkelosteus, and then comes out the other end and drops onto the course. So we try to make it, like I said, educational, but also entertaining as well. And this is a pretty neat neat hole right there. Next, you have, and later in Ohio, you had swamp forests, so you had some land, some water. And this was kind of the age of insects that could get giant, like dragonflies that were huge.
No, wait a minute. Yeah. I've seen dragonflies. They're nothing like that size. Are you telling me that there really were dragonflies that big in Ohio?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the dragonflies of today, could fit in your hand. This one, obviously, the tail was fitting in my hand. So it was a lot. Yeah, things were a lot bigger back then. The insects were a lot bigger. So yeah, it was pretty amazing. When you go through the course, this is kind of unique. If we can go back to the last slide, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you walk actually on a mattress, a bed mattress, and it feels like you're walking through a swamp. So you actually have to hit the ball over this mattress as you're kind of sinking down into the swamp. So like I said, we kind of make it entertaining.
Well, I'm sure that period of history was very challenging, and it sounds like you've added a little challenge to the course.
Exactly. And some people say, "Oh, this is the toughest course we ever been on," but then also, I mean, we don't have a par at each of the holes, so it's like whatever you get, as long as you complete it and have fun. So this is still the swamp forest, the time period. And this is the giant Dimetrodon, they call them. So they were like lizard-like creatures. Had a big sail on its back. So
I was just going to ask you if that background there was part of the creature.
Yep. So it has this big sail on the back, and what you do is actually hit the ball through the mouth. Kind of goes up the mouth, and then once again through the animal, and it drops kind of behind the animal onto the other section of the course. So just like I said, it just adds a little bit of excitement and entertainment. So next we get into the dinosaur period of Ohio, and dinosaurs were believed to be in this area. However, it was really a time period of massive erosion. So if anything got buried under the ground, anything got preserved as far as a dinosaur, it was probably eroded, washed away. So there's really no evidence of dinosaurs in the area, but they believe that they were here. So this is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there's George Parmalee again. He's painting this dinosaur. The amazing thing is, like I tell him as he brings these to life. So, I just cut out the wood pattern, and he's the one that paints it and really brings it to life.
Well,
So
I
it's
have
pretty
to
amazing.
say, looking at that, it looks like that dinosaur is
It's
ready to
huge.
take off his head.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite photos. Yep. And then I brought a tooth. So we do have like replicas and actual fossils too. When you go to the course, you'll see, and there's of course signs that talk about these different fossils. But this happens to be a replica of a T-Rex tooth, and they had near 60 teeth in their mouth. And this is just one of many teeth, and they were giant as well.
They were giant creatures, and obviously looking at that replica of the tooth, that's a huge tooth, were they carnivores or not?
Yeah, carnivores. They were also believed to be scavengers, so they ate dead animals as well. So, and what's kind of amazing about the teeth is they would basically lose their teeth or break their teeth or something, and then they would regrow new ones throughout their life. I think it took maybe about a year or so. I don't remember exactly, but I mean, like with us, we break a tooth, that's it. We don't get any more. So, but they would actually regrow them, so which is kind of neat. The next animal is a lot of these animals. It's kind of funny because you hit the ball through the mouth and it goes out the other. And this is actually the reverse. You hit this one, goes up the tail, and then the ball pops out of the mouth. And this is a pretty good size. It's kind of hard to tell in the picture of how big this is, but this is a pretty good size model of one that we made. So, so still kind of in the dinosaur age. It wouldn't be complete without a volcano. So this is what we made, and, and this was probably the most time-consuming prop that we made. And this is three-dimensional. So you hit the ball into the volcano, and there's actually a little elevator in there. And what you do is you pull a string, and the elevator lifts the ball up to the top, and then there's like a little spiral path that goes around the volcano, and so the ball just kind of travels around and back down to the ground.
Oh, now I have to ask, I never heard there were volcanoes in Ohio.
Sure, yeah, there were, really early on there were, yeah, a long time ago. So, and yep. So it was, like I said, the actual prop took us a long time. And this is another one that took us a while too. And this is moving on to the age of the glaciers, the Ice Age. And people would hit the ball into the glacier, and then the glacier would come out towards the right hand side. And I think the next picture shows that. Yep, and it kind of drops down. So this one, and this kind of gives you an idea of, even when the course is up, we're constantly fixing things. This particular hole right here, the glacier, and then also the volcano, kind of over the years, we're like constantly repairing. With the glacier, the ball would go in there. There's a long tube. For some reason, the balls were getting stuck in there. So, so we had to constantly move the glacier out and go behind it and try to free up some of the golf balls that were stuck in the tube. So finally we figured it out. There was like this little gap in there that was catching.
Well, now, come on, you still have to say that you did it a lot faster than the original glaciers.
Yes, exactly.
And I think
That's
when
true.
the period of time we're in now at this particular hole, more people who are viewing are familiar with that, because some of the parks around here in this northern Ohio area, we do have remains of the glaciers.
Yep. So we talked about, the dinosaur age, just things, major erosion going on at that time. Yeah, but the glaciers obviously were here. They're the most recent event. I think the last of them was like 14,000 years ago. But there are remains that you can find of some of these Ice Age animals. And the next slide actually actually before that, this is the claw of a giant sloth. And some of these sloths can get over 15 feet, so they were pretty big. This is a replica of a claw that you'll see there at the course. So like I said, along the way, you'll see some of the replicas and fossils.
Yeah. I am amazed at the size of some of these, because I've seen a sloth at the zoo.
Yep.
And, it's this nice little creature that's
today.
sleeping on a log or something, or up on a tree branch, but never anything I would assume would have a claw like that.
the amazing thing is back then everything was so much bigger, you know, from the swamp forest age, you know, where you had giant insects, to dinosaur age, where, you know, some of these dinosaurs, the long-necked dinosaurs, were, you know, 90 feet in length, and then of course the Ice Age animals were much bigger too.
Well, I'm looking at this picture of the moose right now, and that looks a lot bigger than I see.
It's a lot bigger than a modern-day moose. And the reason why we actually had this one in there is because there was a skull and actually antlers found right down the street near Chippewa Lake. Somebody was digging an old digging for to create a barn, and, you know, digging for the foundation, and uncovered the antlers and the skull of a stag moose. So we had to have this in there because it was found kind of right down the street from this facility. And this was more recent. This was, I'm going to say, like 2008, something like that, that they, or 2009 that they found it. So, but yeah, they're around. Some of these animal remains from this Ice Age. So it's just a matter of looking, including the mammoth. So we were trying to think of how, you know, we can come up with. We were kind of out of time to, you know, we wanted to do something different too. So this is actually like a skeleton of a mammoth that we put together. It's like one of those puzzles that you buy at like a museum shop or something. So we actually based it on like a little puzzle, and my coworker's father actually cut all these pieces out, and it came out, it's amazing. It's a pretty good size too, so moving it is a challenge along with the rest of these. But yeah, this is the and this is a replica of the mammoth tooth, which we have in the exhibit as well. So they had some pretty huge teeth as well, and they were flat on top. So they had a tooth on the bottom, tooth on the top, and they ate plants basically, and the teeth would grind plant material.
They needed such big teeth to eat plants?
Yep, yeah, they were big animals, so they needed big teeth, and they ate obviously they ate a lot too. So, but pretty good sized animals. So at the towards the end of the exhibit, we're missing a couple of slides, but we do have a replica of like the Indian mounds that you'd see in southern Ohio, and that was another challenge. For some reason, I couldn't find the slide of that. I know we have that picture somewhere, but that was you actually hit the golf ball over the Indian mounds, and there's like a little replica of it. It's kind of neat. The last one, then, this was the first time we did the miniature golf course, which is, like I said, it was about 6 years ago. We had an eagle's nest there, and George Parmalee is the one that painted that eagle. So this is a pretty life-size nest, and we decided not to use this again, so that is no longer in the exhibit. But it just kind of goes to show you that every year we kind of change things a little bit. So this is a more current slide. This is the last exhibit, and we're going to use the tree again this year. But there's actually a bridge right on the like a suspension bridge that we made, which once again couldn't find the slide for some reason, that you walk over and then you walk onto this course right here.
Is there some significance to this particular tree?
This is just so you're going into modern day. So this is the modern day tree we try to represent, and so basically with the tree. As you're hitting the golf ball, you hit the ball into the bottom of the tree, and I rigged together little lights that then we cut out little fireflies, lightning bugs, and attached these LED lights. So you hit the ball through the tree, and essentially the whole tree lights up. And then we also have like a little robin that sings as well that's in the tree.
Well, so I think we have information up on the screen right now about the exhibit, and how would people find information about it?
So the best way to look to see the information is to go to our website, and which is medinacountyparks.com. And we do have a flyer of this exhibit right on the main page. But basically, we'll be running it December 27th through the 31st, which is the week that most of the kids are off. I think all the kids are off that week. And it's basically 12 to 7 every day that particular week, including New Year's Eve. And then the following weekends in January, it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday it's from 12 to 4, Saturday it's from 12 to 7, and then Sunday it's from 12 to 4 again.
So what you're saying is that this exhibit starts December 27th. Yep. It's going to run through that week because the kids are probably off school, and that means that you feel that kids can do this course. And
this is the time, at least in the past, that we had the most attendance during this week. So it's just, the families, the kids, everybody's looking for something to do, and this is just a perfect time to have this. So we had a lot of success this week, so that's why we're open more hours this week. But then, like I said, after that, it's only Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays all the way through the end of February.
Oh.
So it is a couple, at least over a couple months long.
Well, that's a lot of fun then, because
Yep.
someone can come, maybe go through the course, or maybe it was kind of crowded or something like
Yep.
that. But you can come back as many times as you want.
As many times as you want. It's like I said, it's free, and if there is a lot of people, because sometimes that happens in the afternoon, you get a big crowd of people. We'll give you like a number, and we have lots of other activities. This building is huge, so we have different rooms that have all kind of different activities that we're going to have. So if there is a long line at the beginning, we just kind of give you a number, and you go do these activities, and then we'll call your number, for the next person in line. Because if you have way too many people in line, it's going to be tough to get through the course, but it seems to work out. So
what other kind of activities do you have in the building?
So this year we'll have anything from like guessing. I think we have like little plastic dinosaurs that you can guess like the number of dinosaurs. We have trying to think of little things that you can throw into like a dinosaur's mouth, and a lot of books we're going to have upstairs, and we may or may not show a movie. I know in the past years we've shown a movie upstairs, so it kind of depends. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I think this is just wonderful because it's so interactive, whether it's the golf course or it is some of these activities around. They're things you can really do hands-on.
Yep, exactly. And our whole mission at the parks is to get people outside. I know this is inside, but we and also try to get them to our parks. I mean, that's the key, especially this time of year. Some people we do have a lot of hiking programs and things outside still in the wintertime. But we also have, we figured, we'll have this inside, try to get people out to the park. That's our whole goal, is just to get them out there. And we figure, while they're there, we'll educate them about kind of like the geologic history of Ohio. And like I said, there's a lot of information about a lot of these fossils and a lot of these different animals along the way too.
I was just going to ask you that. Are there explanations along the way of what it is that's replicated on the course?
Yeah, we try to, as you're going through the course, we're trying to really educate you of what time period you're in. The first time we did it, we kind of missed out on that. I think people were confused. They were kind of lumping it all together like the same time period, but we made several different signs this time that actually say this is the time period that you're in. So this is way, way early on, like I said, from the ocean to the swamp forest to the age of dinosaurs. The Ice Age would be the last, but you're talking starting out 400 plus million years ago and into modern day. So it's a big time period that you're going through. So it can get confusing, but we try to kind of make it simple.
Yeah, we don't think about the fact that the land was here long, so many millions of years ago before any humans were in the area at all.
Exactly.
We kind of think, oh, well, our history began when the Native Americans migrated to this area, or the original settlers. So we don't think in terms of hundreds of thousands or millions of years, but all this was gradually evolving over the time period.
Yeah, a lot of people, you'd ask them, like the ocean, for example, you say, oh, did you realize that Ohio at one time was an ocean? And people are like, what? Like, really? So, and actually, other great places to go to, obviously, besides this, this golf course, is, the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, McKinley Museum, which we have a membership to and stuff, which are wonderful places to visit that talk about all these time periods, and then actually have fossils from these animals. So they're great places to visit along with this miniature golf course. So.
Well, it's so nice to know that there are these things that we can do and that the parks are accessible all year, indoor as well as outdoor. So, I'm so glad you could come today and tell us about this exhibit. You said it's starting December 27th, and it's going to be here during that week, and then after the first of the year, it's going to be weekends through all of January and all of February.
And February too, Yeah, and you never know in Ohio what the weather's going to be. So it may be warm winter this year. I mean, who knows? And obviously, you can't really sled when there's no snow on the ground. So, so we just have something different, and try to get people out to our parks.
Well, it's always great to have you with us. And all of you, I hope you've enjoyed this show and that you take advantage of the exhibit. Actually, it's an activity more than an exhibit. And enjoy the winter holidays and the new year with the Medina Parks District. Thanks so much for watching our show. Have a wonderful day.
Since 1971, RSVP has been matching volunteers' talents to community needs. RSVP is affiliated with the Corporation for National and Community Service, a national organization that supports service and volunteering through grant-funded projects. Volunteers organize neighborhood watch programs, tutor children, renovate homes, plant community gardens, assist victims of natural disasters, and serve their communities in many other ways. RSVP offers maximum flexibility and choice to its volunteers as it matches the personal interests and skills of Americans 55 and older with opportunities to serve their communities. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597 extension 166.